Welcome back. Happy Halloween, fellow football fanatics. How are you all doing? Excited to have all of you on here so we can, live react to the college football playoff rankings, which that whole ordeal begins at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in about 18 minutes, I'm going to, pull up my phone, put it on my laptop, and from there we'll go. But how are all of you guys doing? And now we got some votes coming in. Hello, Andrew Anderson. Hey, everyone. Hello, Justin Rogue. Howdy, y'all. Cryo Soul. Good to see you. My day's doing well. Yeah, I'm doing good. Is that a stain on the hoodie? No, it's a I forgot to tear off the tag on the hoodie, so now it's just kind of like residue. I could peel it off, but it would take a lot of time. You can get this sweater, by the way, by checking out my merchandise store, which I'm actually going to pin that right here and right now before things really begin to settle in. I think it'd be good. Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. Alrighty. Alrighty. So, those links, if you want to support the channel, and if you also want to get, some extra stuff, you can check out my merchandise store, get some college football with Sam merchandise, and represent your Big Ten school and the channel. And also you can sign up for bonus content on my Patreon page. And about 61% of you so far, only 28 of you have voted, but 61% of you think that there will be two teams in the college football playoff from one conference. Hey everyone, I'm driving and listening. It's nice to see you, Chris Lane. Who do you think wins the Big Ten West if the season was over now? I think Minnesota, because I think to solve tiebreakers in the West and East, you have to go through whoever has the toughest Big Ten cross-divisional slate out of tied teams, and that would be Minnesota because they face both Michigan and OSU. They also play Michigan State. Demetrius Evans, good to see you on here. What's up, Sam? Doing good, seeing that my Buckeye defense is proving me wrong each week, LOL. You know how hard and pessimistic I was. You were pessimistic. A lot of fans were pessimistic about the defense. But here we are, and Ohio State at this point has a better defense than offense. They really do. Who do you think is the strength of the defense? Like, what player really stands out to you on the defensive side of the football? For me, it would be either Josh Proctor or Tyleik Williams. Just me personally. People are saying Michigan number 1. Other people are saying, like Wolver Geek, my playoff ranking prediction, number 1 Georgia, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Ohio State, number 4 Florida State. Do you think these are the rankings tonight or the rankings at the end of the season? Number 1 Georgia, number 2 OSU, number 3 FSU, number 4 U of M. That actually, Jack the Great, that personally is my those are the top 4 that I think the college football playoff is going to put out personally. I think U of M will be penalized due to their strength of schedule currently. U of M for me personally, my top 10 video along with some postseason predictions because I'm going to be releasing postseason predictions and, playoff picks the day following every college football playoff release, and then prediction videos, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. I think that will be tonight's ranking, is number 1 Georgia or number 2 Ohio State. Those will be the top 2. FSU or U of M will be 3 or 4. And I think Jack the Great's list will probably be... Pardon my dog. My dog's a little bit of a idiot. That's going to be one of the few times I attach that word to anyone. So pardon him. He's not mine, by the way. But is what it is. My top 3, not what I expect to see tonight. Number 1, Michigan. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Florida State. I love the Oregon ranking, even though they have 1 loss. Oregon is... They're playing amazing football right now. It's about all I can say. Is they're playing some pretty amazing football. If you haven't checked out, I just released a video, in fact, talking about the game and some of my early preview and early thoughts on that matchup. So it's already, climbing the viewership board. Hopefully it can get, well over 1,000 views tonight. Check it out if you haven't already. Actually, I have the YouTube link for that. That'll post in here. Okay, let's see. Demetrius Evans, Tyleik Williams is my pick for the most impactful defensive player. By the way, at this point, I still think U of M is the best team in the country. Yeah, Tyleik Williams has 5 passes defended, a few sacks, really good at getting pressure. I do agree that U of M is the best team in the country right now. They're number 1 in efficiency. They can score with precision on offense. Their starting defense has scored more touchdowns than they've allowed, which is just, absolutely nuts. I agree. Sam, you got to stop posting videos before the lives. I confess it's a bad habit, but that's partially because, like today, for example, we had people over, so it took me a while to get out content and stuff. So, also, I typically try and post videos at 5 p.m. or later. If I have multiple videos, like 3 or 4 to do within a day, then I'll post earlier than that. But, Tuesday's typically a day where I'm still trying to gather information. Tonight after my live, I'm purely working on potential power. That way I can, make preview videos starting it maybe morning, more likely than not afternoon of tomorrow. I can't wait to see who the top 6 are in the college football playoff. Can't wait to see it. Let me see. I kind of want Michigan to be 5, just outside of the top 4. Being the underdog always seems to give them an edge, but hey, put the Buckeyes at 1. It'll go along well with what he says is their arrogance. I would say the team that is probably, speaking of arrogance, I don't know what the most arrogant team in the nation is right now. I kind of feel like it's Alabama still. I really, really want to see LSU just go in there and blow them off the field. Ryan Day's beard, haven't played anyone. Well, Georgia, I hate to tell you, I don't think Georgia has played anyone either. And Michigan looks more efficient than they. So, it is what it is. You penalize Michigan for a weak schedule, but it's stronger than Georgia's. I just said that Michigan and Georgia basically have played the same schedule, and Michigan looks like the much more efficient team. Therefore, by that comparison, Michigan is the better team. FPI agrees with that. Advanced Analytics agree with that. Georgia right now, I don't think they're as good as Michigan. I'd pick Oregon to beat Georgia neutral field. I'd probably pick Ohio State to beat them neutral field as long as they have Henderson healthy at running back. If they didn't have Henderson at running back, I'd pick Georgia. Someone just said Michigan death penalty. Ooh. Wow. And now it's somewhat just a waiting game in a lot of ways, because the college football playoff rankings start at 8. I'll get my phone, again, put it in front of my laptop. We'll watch together. So on and so forth. What game are you all most excited for Week 10? Also now 59% of you with 51 votes say, yes, one conference will get 2 teams into the college football playoff yet. I got Roman Wagner and El Su Sesbo saying that Georgia is arrogant. I have someone else who says that the only thing arrogant about Alabama is their fans. Josiah Price says, sorry, Sam, Michigan is finished after this season. Someone else says, no way they get the death penalty. If Penn State, Michigan State, and Baylor didn't get the penalty, Michigan won't. I agree with you there. I think it was Stallions on the CMU sidelines, otherwise they wouldn't need an investigation. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts, if indeed he was on the sidelines, and it certainly looks like it. Thank you, BIZR, for the $5 super chat. I have to confess that I can't, okay, so you're saying they said we couldn't do it, but we did. We are the best team in this bleep. Buckeyes taking it all this year. I don't know if Ohio State's taking it all this year, but I think they have the potential to. Thank you for the $5 super chat, BIZR. Really appreciate you being on here. Okay. Demetrius Evans, when a team has a weak schedule, you have to blast the Michigans. Done that. Preach. Period. Amen. That's exactly what's gone on. Hey, Sam, what do you think about a similar ban from bowl games like Ohio State got if the cheating comes out as more than just a man show? I mean, I guess that would be fair. I mean, I think the whole, tattoo gate thing is stupid. Like, Ohio State did beat Michigan in 2010. To vacate that win means absolutely nothing. So I'm kind of just looking forward to games. I mean, my head honestly is like hurting thinking about the off the field things, even though it is a conversation that must be had. I think Rutgers has a fighting chance against Ohio State. The OSU offense is not good. This is the most vulnerable Ohio State has been week to week in years because of Kyle McCord. I'd say that this is the worst Ohio State team since, I'm going to say 2018. Just because we don't know. This team hasn't played all 12 of their games yet. I'd say this is the worst, at least from a potential perspective or a ceiling perspective, the worst Ohio State team since 2018. Okay. What do you think should happen to Michigan after the cheating allegations? I think that there needs to be probably a sizable fine. That's where I'd start all of this off. And whoever's involved on the staff does need to be penalized. If Michigan does get a postseason ban, will you be all right to go 12-0 if we don't go to a bowl game this year if that happens? No, that'd be miserable. It would be a story of what ifs if Michigan goes 12-0 and they're kept out of the Big Ten championship game in the playoff. Though I will say Michigan, I highly doubt Michigan gets a postseason ban this year or, frankly, any year. Who is the future of Ohio State, Lincoln Kienholz or Aaron Noland? I don't know enough about either of them to make such a declarative statement. However, I'd say based off of the current identity of Ohio State, I'd say their identity is going to be more defensive and more, quote-unquote, Big Ten toughness based in the future while still having elite wide receivers. I don't know. I think that Ryan Day is an elite, quarterback guy, quarterback developer. I don't know. I think it's so tough because this is going very far in the future. It's really, really tough. I'll say Noland just because he's rated higher by, recruiting industries, but it could be either or. OSU has all this talent, especially in offense. Why are they so bad? Because the tackle spot is very vulnerable. It was poorly developed and recruited by Greg Studwara. Justin Fry is in year 2, so some of it also falls on him and the staff as a whole. But they lost a lot of production there, and it was poorly recruited by previous regimes, the offensive line was. And Kyle McCord is... It's clear that Kyle McCord, that Ryan Day made the wrong read when he chose McCord over McCarthy. Because McCarthy, I think now, it's clear as night and day that McCarthy is the better quarterback. The accuracy, the poise, the experience. SFS inverted, I'm nervous, Sam. Oh, believe me, I'm nervous too. Ohio State, if you're talking about the game, Ohio State has every chance, every shot to beat Michigan this year. They definitely have the potential. Our offense isn't bad, it's just inconsistent and lackluster sometimes. Yeah. I'd say the only spot that's quote-unquote bad could be tackle. Even then, still pretty middle-of-the-road tackle room, and I'd say the offensive line is certainly above average. Best team in the Big Ten, in your opinion? Michigan. I'd say Michigan's in Tier 1. I'd say Ohio State's in either Tier 1B or Tier 2. Penn State's in, Tier 2. Well, no. Penn State's in Tier 2, maybe Tier 3 if Ohio State's in Tier 2. And then from there, you have, Rutgers in Tier 4. Along with probably Minnesota or Nebraska, and really after Penn State, there's this massive drop off a cliff. Oh. Okay, it's 7. Perfect. Time to get out the phone, and time to react to the college football playoff rankings. Let's do this. Go into YouTube TV. Okie dokie. Oh, sweet. We got over 400 views in the past hour as a combination from this stream, but also from the Ohio State Michigan video. That's very good. Hopefully that continues to blow up. Okay. Oh, and ESPN has these little ghosts hanging around their screen trying to be all Halloween-y. That's funny. Well, this show's going to be going on for an hour. I think it won't take him an hour to get to all the rankings. It'll probably, take him until 7, 30 or something. Just adjust my seating here. It's sometimes easier for me to sit on my knees. Don't know exactly why, but it is what it is. Okay. Okay. Roman Wagner, do you think Wisconsin will be a good, great, near elite, or elite team in the new Big Ten if Fickell stays around for a long time? Yes, I do. I think the only thing I've gotten wrong about Fickell so far is the fact that his rebuild for Wisconsin is just going to take longer than I anticipated. But I thought that this year, with some of the returning production, would be a really good year, and then they would fall back off for 2 years as they try and rebuild their system. All I think is going to happen is this year's rough, the next year, or maybe 2 years after this season will be rough, and then like 2025 or 2026, they're really going to begin to climb that to those new heights. When you're used to a team averaging over 40 a game and they go down to being more defensive oriented, we mistakenly call them bad when they're just different. That is true. I mean, the offense is very inconsistent, but the defense, I would say, nearly makes up for that. The only reason I say nearly is I think Ohio State's offense is one of the best in the country, but unlike the previous two offenses that had a ridiculously high ceiling and were the best in the country, I don't think Ohio State, I mean, it's tough. They could have the best defense in the country, but I don't think they have that same ceiling defensively that they had offensively for the past 2 seasons. And I think that can cause it could cause a wide variety of issues against elite teams. But who knows? You need to start sitting on your sitting bones. Well, I've been doing that a lot today, so maybe I just needed the change of pace, change of seating. Someone said Ohio State national title, calling it now. It's certainly possible. If they beat Michigan, I would favor Ohio State, at least in my mind, from a matchup perspective, over probably anyone, because I think Michigan's the number 1 team in the country, and to beat them on the road is very impressive. LSU vs. FAR. Good to see you here. Late to the party. Just got here. LSU, do you think that Nebraska could be ranked inside the top 25 at some point this season? Go Blue, cunning linguist. I see you. Green Man 15 and O ... H-I-O exclamation point. You know what? I've said this since the beginning. Until November 25th, I am cheering for Ohio State because I want that 11-0 versus 11-0 matchup. Okay. There is going to be they're just getting into the first initial rankings, and this is going to be very, very fun. I'm excited for this personally. This is going to be awesome. Okay. My prediction for the OSU-Michigan game is OSU 120, Michigan 3. Is this reasonable? Maybe in basketball it's reasonable. Alabama will be number 1. No. I mean, maybe at the end of the year, because they have the talent to where they can rally. Here, no. Oh, holy cow. There isn't going to be any ad break for them. But here is the top 25. Air Force is 25th. Tulane's 24th. Kansas State is 23rd. Oklahoma State is 22nd. Kansas is 21st. Okay, so I'm just going to type. I'm going to type these out. Number 24, Tulane. Number 23, Kansas State. Number 22, Oklahoma State. Number 21, Kansas. And then, number 20, we have USC. Number 19, we have UCLA. Number 18, we have Utah. Number 17, we have Tennessee. And number 16, we have the Oregon State Beavers. It makes me happy that Oregon State didn't fall too much. My potential power rankings have been high on them forever, and rightfully so. When they play at home, they look like one of the best teams in college football, I think. No chance of Nebraska being ranked this year. We are surviving in a crap division right now. We have a lot of developing to do. But what if you win out? Like a 9-3 Nebraska might not actually be a top 25 team, but they'd totally be ranked in the top 25. CCT Georgia Southern will be one. That's funny. The Fighting Clay Heltons. Okay, number 15 is Notre Dame. Number 14 is LSU. Number 13 is Louisville. So if the Cardinals win out, what that tells me is if the Cardinals went out and beat Florida State, they could totally be in. Number 12 is Missouri. They went out, they're in. Number 11 is Penn State. That for Penn State, since they won't play in a conference championship game because their cross-division opponents right now look like the worst. They're worse than Michigan's. They're worse than Ohio State's. Penn State is far from in control of their own destiny, despite only being a one-loss team, because they're outside of that top 10. Okay, number 10 is Ole Miss. Ohio State won't be one with Notre Dame and Penn State so low. That's a good point, Roman Wagner. That's actually a very, very good point. Number 9 is Oklahoma. Oh, I don't know why. I said number 10 and didn't type Ole Miss. So number 10 is Ole Miss, by the way. Number 8 is Alabama. Number 8's Alabama. 14 and up are all playoff contenders. If LSU wins out, they could make it. Yes, but they need help. I mean, they would need a lot of other teams to lose for a 2-loss LSU to get in, especially if Ole Miss loses to Georgia or maybe loses to A&M as well. Alabama at number 8 and Texas at number 7. So Texas is ranked ahead of Oklahoma, which makes sense. Texas has the better... I think Texas's win over Alabama on the road personally is more impressive than Oklahoma's over Texas just by watching the game. And losing to Oklahoma by how good Oklahoma played against Texas is better than, losing to a Kansas team who had a very off game. Kansas did not even play close to 100% against Oklahoma. I thought the committee would love Texas. I mean, having Texas at 7 means if they win out, they're in, basically. Okay. So they're talking about all these different teams. They are going to reveal the top 6. Greg McElroy's talking. I'm going to quickly, very, very quickly, grab a drink of water. Very quickly. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, we're back. There, Greg McElroy was talking about how he thinks it's ridiculous that Texas is ahead of Oklahoma, which is understandable, but I don't think any type of critical ranking system like that should be judged by simple axioms. If you look at how Texas has played all season long, they're better than Oklahoma. I mean, they're better than Oklahoma. They are. They have more talent, and they're more efficient with their talent than Oklahoma is. CCT says, go Dogs. A lot of UGA people in here. Oregon over Florida State. I think that's almost a no-brainer in terms of who's better. From a ranking perspective, Oregon's 6th. They just revealed that. So number 6, Oregon. I think Washington is number 5. Very likely the case with how rough they've looked. Gosh. I don't, as a Michigan fan, I don't want Michigan to be number 1. Washington is number 5. Good pick by Crash 2488. Washington is 5th. $210 votes. 60% of you say that there will be 2 teams from one conference that make the college football playoff. LSU vs. Far, thank you for answering my question. Nebraska might crack the top 25 if they beat Wisconsin. I think it's the earliest they get in. If they beat Iowa, 90% chance they're in. Title game may knock them out. Back in if they win a bowl. 10-4 team definitely will finish ranked. Florida State is number 4. People have already said that. Michigan's probably 3. Georgia and Ohio State will make up the top 2. I have no doubts about that. Jimmy Chunga guy, it's awesome to see you here. Ohio State number 1, Michigan number 2, Georgia number 3. Michigan is 3rd. Guessed it. They do not have the strength. They don't have the strength of schedule to be ranked inside of the top 2, nor do they have the reputation that Georgia does. Number 3, Michigan. Good. I wanted them lower than their actual. Georgia number 2, that means Ohio State's at number 1. Yup. Number 1, Ohio State. Wow. What are these guys smoking? That's what LSU VSFR FAR said. This is purely a strength of record ranking. That's what the college football playoff always has been. Strength of record system. Ohio State is the number 1 strength of record. It's strength of record, brand name, and reputation. So Ohio State would be number 1 there. Georgia was going to be in the top 2 for sure. Ohio State was going to be anywhere from number 1 to number 3. They earned it. Not a good omen, though. I have never seen such a broken team earn number 1. Yup, they ranked Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan based off of strength of schedule and strength of record, where Ohio State's number 1 in both out of the 3. Georgia's 2. Michigan is 3rd. Ironically, Ohio State's the only one with ranked wins as of the current college football playoff rankings. Neither Georgia or Michigan have beaten a team who's currently inside of the top 25. People, by the way, who thought Florida was ever top 25, I don't know. I don't think so. Someone says the glazing is crazy. If it's strength of record, shouldn't FSU or Washington... Yeah, FSU or Washington, if it's strength of record, should be above Georgia and Michigan. So there's clearly, like, brand names going on. I would turn up the volume to listen to the talking heads. I respect Greg McElroy, but I'm not going to. College Game Day will be live from Tuscaloosa. It's nuts. So what do y'all think of these? What do you all think? Let me know. Yeah, I'd say a good way you could get alerted is clicking the notification bell and clicking all notifications, but I don't even know if that'll work. My bad, or I feel bad that you weren't alerted immediately. People are saying go Buckeyes, understandably so. If you're an Ohio State fan, you just have to hope they maintain that. Okay, name value should be tracked on FPI. That's funny. As a Michigan fan, this is totally fair. Based off of their strength of schedule, I'm fine with it right now. For Michigan, if Michigan just wins, it is what it is. And LSU in 2019 was not number 1 in the inaugural college football playoff rankings. So Michigan can win. Michigan can still win a national title. Like, that number 3 college football playoff ranking doesn't stop you from winning. Basically every team inside of the top 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 can still compete for a national championship, depending on how the dominoes fall. If the offense improves by just 10%, Ohio State will be unstoppable with the defense that they have. Yeah. The defense for Ohio State really is a bend but don't break team, and then it transforms into an immovable object once you get inside of the red zone. How do you feel about these rankings? Asks Ohio State man. I would have rankings that overall are similar. I will say, though, I think Washington and Oregon are being underrated. I think both are better than Florida State. I think Georgia should, with how weak their strength of schedule is, much like Michigan, I think it'd be fair to put Michigan ahead of Georgia. There'd be a lot that I would change, but, ESPN, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, myself, and other college football channels all are watching the same games. So rarely will a top 25 be radically different. Something big that I would change is Kansas State's 23rd. I would have them easily inside of the top 20, if not close to the top 15. I mean, their only losses are to ranked Oklahoma State and a ranked Mizzou. They have a tough strength of schedule, and they have recently dominated. I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas State waltzes into Texas and beats them by double digits given their quarterback situation. Wouldn't shock me one bit. It really wouldn't. The same Washington almost lost to a 2-win team. Washington is very cold at times, but then they're also very hot. I think they have the highest ceiling on offense in the entire country. Kalen DeBoer is going to join the show. I don't know why they said, the college football playoff rankings would be from 7 to 8, but it is what it is. Thank you all for stopping by on here. I am going to get off now that the rankings have concluded and get back to work and have a lot of content for you all tonight. We've been on here for about 40 minutes. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll just check the chat one more time. Relax, Michigan fans. You beat Ohio State. You are number 1. I don't know about that. I think that even if Michigan's obviously more dominant than Georgia and they, beat Penn State and Ohio State, I think that Georgia would remain number 1. I don't see Georgia not being number 1 if Ohio State is to lose, unless they themselves have a loss. Kansas State will beat Texas. We'll see about that, Demetrius Evans, but I have a feeling that you might be right. Marcus Aurelius Maximus. I think the College Football Playoff Committee is giving OSU another setup for entry via the back door. That's a good point, actually, by having them at number 1. And that's something that I've mentioned to friends. I bet you this. Ohio State fans, if you're 11-1 and lose to Michigan, you are going to get in over a 12-1 Oklahoma. You might even get in over a 12-1 Texas. You'd certainly get in over a 12-1 Florida State. I mean, you would get in over some teams who win their conference and have 12 wins with the schedule you have. And if you lose to Michigan, I mean, the argument would be they lost to, like, the best team in the country. So I think Ohio State can definitely enter without even playing in their conference championship game. Thank you so much for watching this video. There will be tons of content out tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and the following week. Have a phenomenal night, guys, and I will see you all around. Bye-bye.